Welcome everyone to this fireside chat, overcoming marginalization within the video games industry. I hope you all have had a great conference so far. My name is Lauren Kaye. I'm the host of She Plays Games podcast, where I talk to women in the video games industry about their experience in the industry to help promote more visibility and share resources. All in all, an effort to inspire women to join the games industry. Today, I am very honored to be talking with Tara Mustapha, who has been working as a designer in the industry for the last 15 years, which is amazing. And today we're going to be talking about marginalization within the gaming industry and how we can work together to overcome. It's a very important subject. It relates not only just to the games we play, but also the people who make them, as despite studios making efforts in both of these regards, there's still a lot of work to be done to make games more inclusive. I'm so thankful that Tara has taken the time to speak with us today, as she's helping to speed up the process via two companies she's founded called Glow Up Games and Coven. So, Tara, first of all, say hi.
Hi. Thank you, Lauren.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you deserve all the accolades. And I wondered if you would mind talking about how Glow Up Games and Coven are helping to tackle marginalization from the perspective of providing games for marginalized audiences, and helping marginalized developers find a place within the industry.
I would love to. Thank you. Hi everyone. I'm Tara Mustapha and my pronouns are she, her. And this all started once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away. When I first got into the industry I've been technically in for like 16 years now, but 2 diplomas makes it 18 years. Code Coven, and that started about 2 years ago. And came up as the idea of being the first remote online boot camp just completely focused on the games industry. And our mission is to create a safe, inclusive space for marginalized folks to get the support they need in order to level up their careers. It all sort of stemmed from the idea of all of this research that I was doing that was founded off of the UN and the World Health Organization and other initiatives to bring equality and parity in sort of the global stage for women. And there's an interesting quote that said, in order to have equality in parliament, in government, 50-50, it would take about another 200 years, which is just as long, the same amount of time it would take a snail to cross the Great Wall of China. I was like, oh, that hurts,
Yeah.
Let's see if we can speed that up a little bit, it just really resonated with me in terms of my experiences in the games industry and hearing about the experiences also of my colleagues and friends. And that's why I started Code Coven, and it was targeting towards people who are new to the industry, as well as industry veterans, and built to support like their career development at all levels. We wanted to create programs that help enable not only technical skills, which is what a lot of vocational colleges focus on right now. It's just like, okay, here's the how-to of a step-by-step process of how you code, or how you write a game design document or a project plan. But what about the other hurdles that we kind of have to tackle? And going to like the School of Life, I'd learned about, sort of professional development. School of Life is an actual school and organization, and it has courses like how to, public speaking, or how to be confident, and how to present yourself, and all these other different ways of thinking, and being able to talk and find strategies to overcome some of these hurdles. And I thought, well, what if we incorporate all of that into an online remote boot camp that especially is targeted to people who want work-life balance to further their careers and to break that glass ceiling. And also just create networks where you are among people who have the same values and are in the same mindset of challenging current systemic gatekeepers in order to create critical mass. Because by creating these collaborative spaces and knowing that you have allies, you're able then to affect change in all of the places that you reach out to, that your influence is felt and heard. So that's why I'm all about this idea of critical mass. And yeah, and it was funny because actually in developing Code Coven, I had reached out to a friend of mine, Dr. Mithu Kandakar, to talk about how I develop a really robust curriculum. And at that time, she was like, "Listen, I'm starting something new. I'm starting this thing. I don't know what to call it right now, but a game studio, and I'd love for you to be a part of it." And that's when we came together with Latoya Peterson to create Glow Up Games, which is the first, as far as we know, game studio founded by women of color. And we have a combined experience of over 30 years in the industry, which
Mm.
is kind of crazy when you think
Yeah.
about it. And we don't like to admit it because it just gives away how old we are. Um,
Hey, no, age is nothing. Age is nothing. It's
age
just
ain't
you're
nothing but a
more
number.
fabulous.
Oh,
Yeah, you're
yes.
more fabulous.
But yeah, the mission with Glow Up was to create rich narrative games for underrepresented majorities and to go to where that audience is and serve the underserved. And in full disclosure here, I've recently transitioned and stepped away from my role as Chief Design Officer and co-founder at Glow Up. Um, the team there, with their support, with their love, they've been wonderfully supportive and loving about this, but they know that the work I have to do with Code Coven is so important. And we always joke about that because in the journey that we've had of over hundreds of sort of investor talks, pitching, development talks, and building up the game that we have started for HBO's Insecure,
Mm,
um, we realize like there is actually a problem with trying to raise money as women founders in a tech space. And so
mm.
they're like, okay, well, Tara, go solve that problem with Code Coven. I'm like, all right, let me do that. Support
Yeah.
you guys over here. So I've transitioned to an investor role with the team, and I fully believe in what they're doing. But yeah, I've kind of stepped away from being so hands-on with Glow Up just to focus on what we're doing with Code Coven.
Yeah, I think it's because it's also just it's such a new experience and such an amazing opportunity for people like that having to spread yourself, like having to just keep yourself very, very focused on Code Coven is like so important, especially considering how much help it's going to give so many people.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of when it was funny because we just wrapped up something called the summer program, and
Mm.
there was the cohort that participated in the summer program. And just to give everybody a bit of background, the summer program was designed, all right, May 6th or something like that.
Go back to
I
the
was on
very
a call,
beginning.
back to the beginning, with my colleagues at the Code Coven team, and we were just like, there's so many people being affected by the cancellation of internships.
Mm.
Um, live in-person internships because of COVID. A lot of people who are from marginalized backgrounds, or marginalized genders, are having to go back home. And home should be a safe space, but for a lot of people who are in periods of transition or, identify as LGBTQ, home isn't necessarily a safe space. And taking away their, university housing or the means to be able to pay for their livelihoods, was a really scary thing that we were seeing these people experience. We were like, okay, what if we go for it? We're just going to offer a program that's going to help people and fill the gap. We've been teaching online for like over a year now. We have the means, we have the tools. Let's just do it. We'll find funding. Let's just go.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing is, like, I'd love to be able to say that we affected hundreds of lives in doing that. The cohort was only 14
Mm.
participants. We had great support from mentors from all over the industry. But I'm so proud of what they did and, the participants did over
Mm.
this program. And we were able to provide them with a stipend. They've all walked away with portfolio pieces as well as friendships and networks. And I know just with that little group, they're going to go on to do great things and incite change in, the
Yeah.
wider range of things. And that's what it starts with.
Exactly. Like, I mean, it's just 14, but how many people have now heard of what it's done, and how many people see this as like an opportunity now? Like, this could be a chance. This could be something that will help me as well. And I mean, it wasn't just like in the UK as well. You were so global with it, weren't you? Like, what were the
Yeah.
different countries that you had?
We had South Africa, Jamaica, Puerto Rico,
Mm,
Canada, the US, coast to coast.
it's
So
amazing.
yeah, it was really exciting. And some of the thing is that these students, these I keep on calling them students, they're really participants, but they didn't know each other. The majority of them didn't know each other at the beginning of the program. And then we
Yeah.
threw them into teams. So there were 4 teams overall. And, some of them are going on to actually keep on developing the projects that they built,
Wow.
having made these connections, to
Yeah.
see if they can take their games further, and, Code Coven are there completely to help them, get, publishing and develop their games and everything. But to create these bonds
Mm,
at this time was just, yeah, fantastic. And like you said, in other circumstances, they probably would never have met.
mm,
When I talked to participants from South Africa, the scene there was incredibly different, for game development. And also the effects of, they have really different regulations in terms of COVID and like,
mm.
now the word's completely escaping me, when you're not allowed out, curfew,
Curfew.
that we have in the UK, that my family has in Canada and Vancouver. Like, so it's affecting everybody to a larger, to different scales, and it's really important to take that into perspective, I think, of what everybody else is going through. It's not just a sort of a blanket experience in a way.
Yeah, I mean, you can't help where you're born, but you have the dream inside you because you can still see everything. I mean, the internet has like given us that, isn't it? It's given us the vision of what's possible, but you can't help where you're born. And I'm seeing more and more now people from places where the industry is quite small, like Jamaica, like South Africa,
Mm.
like Thailand and or Vietnam. Like, there's a lot of places where there's not only the games industry is small, but the pool of women in those industries is very small as well. So it's incredible how, with things like Code Coven, like, it's really giving them the chance to meet people that they wouldn't have otherwise even had a chance to meet. Like, that's really, really, really cool. And it makes the world feel a lot smaller in a nicer sense
Yeah,
than it ever
exactly.
was before. Would you mind also like talking about your experience? Because I know you've had experiences with marginalization yourself throughout your career, and like why did this or what encouraged you to like take a stand?
Um, yeah. It's a really tricky one, because I know that everybody's lived experience is completely different, and I would have to say that here's the funny thing, I'm possibly lucky in having not experienced a lot of the horror stories that I've heard,
Mm,
other women in the industry and marginalized folks in the industry experience. At the same time, there's often times where I question, would did that happen because I was a woman, or I am a woman?
mm,
And it's sort of that moment where you're just constantly questioning yourself and going, am I crazy?
yeah.
And using that kind of language, and you're just like, well, why am I second guessing myself? Which is also systemic problems. But, like, so, yeah, I'll tell you a bit of story I kind of share, is that got into the industry, like I said, about, I went to Internet College in Montreal, then I went to VFS in Vancouver, and then I got my first job. And I remember sitting at my desk in my first job and being the only, female designer.
Mm.
And there are more designers coming up now, which is really great to see. But I remember crying and sobbing at my
Oh,
desk, and I emailed my program director from VFS, who's an old school industry veteran, Dave Warfield, and I said to him, "Listen, is there a woman? Is there a
Yeah.
woman I could talk to? Just one, you know?"
Yeah.
And he had to think about it. He went away for a couple of days, found me one,
Yeah.
who was this wonderful producer who's now, like, I think the lead producer at Blackbird Interactive,
Mm.
who just sat down with me and could talk to me because I'm a very emotional person.
Mm.
Um, and there were things that I was second guessing about having to constantly prove myself and say, okay, here I am as a core gamer. I play this, this, and this, which enables me to. I also did fantastic in my VFS program, which means I'm legitimately here.
Mm.
And my designs have value. And, it's one thing also when you're like, I'm primarily a systems designer, like my bread and butter is systems. I love game feel.
Mm.
I love it when it's invisible and something just feels good,
Yeah.
and it's really, but it's kind of different kind of design because it's not as visible to people, you know,
Mm.
um, and to be able to justify that you have a place there, was something that really stood out. And then I also remember one day coming back I had to run out of the studio once to get something, to run to the corner store to actually get some tampons.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
my lead designer, bless him, he didn't know any better because he was young, and
Mm.
I'll give him that excuse. Called out from across the office, "Where'd you go to get some tampons?" And I literally had a box in my hand in a blue
Oh my
bag and thinking,
God.
I have to be real. I feel so embarrassed. But at the same time, I'm
Yeah.
like, this is something that I'm going through. Yeah. So I yelled back, yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Want one?
Yeah.
Because I'm snarky like that. But it's just like,
Yeah.
why is this? It shouldn't be awkward. It's something that
No.
all people, all women, or not women, but people who have menstrual cycles experience,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I remember like going for, somebody who was a close friend of mine, we both had the same dream job of being a AAA first person shooter designer. And, I had more experience, I had AAA experience. We both went for the same job. He got the interview. I didn't. And
Mm.
on paper, it just doesn't make sense,
No.
So
No.
I don't think necessarily it's a conscious bias, but it's that unconscious bias, and it's something that we have to bring a lot of awareness to try and figure out how to navigate how we do better
Mhm.
and have uncomfortable conversations until they're comfortable. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Um,
like that is what it's all about at the moment. It's paving the way. Like in a way it's sort of a shame because you almost kind of wish that you could time travel or that you could speed up the process because like this is such a almost habitual thing that we're conquering at the moment, you know? Like that guy
exactly.
probably didn't mean anything by the tampon comment. He just didn't know any better, you know? Like he was
Mhm.
just being surrounded by guys all the time. You just like you don't have anybody saying that's wrong. Like
Exactly.
don't say that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And like but it takes not being the only person there to be like, to be represented.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. So how do we, yeah, that's the thing with like Code Coven with Glow Up is just how do we create that momentum and that mass, And
Mm.
one of the interesting things also in the work that we did with Glow Up was there's so little data out there as well about what women and BAME BIPOC people are playing
Mm.
because most of and it resonates with sort of my experience with being a designer as well. It's like one thing that this is very somebody said to me it's like 15 years ago. He's like, why would I hire a woman when you're not the target demographic,
Ugh. And
right?
that's what you're just like, shut up.
Exactly. But and then again, that's 10, 15 years ago, and the data hasn't been collected,
Yeah.
you know? It's,
It's
it's
just this weird assumption.
yeah. So when you're out there trying to hustle and trying to raise funds and saying, well, listen, there's an audience out there. 50% of, gamers are women,
Mm.
and just because your gamer label only applies to Call of Duty, but even then, tons of women out there are playing Call of Duty or playing
Yeah.
Overwatch or playing, all of these
CS:GO and all
hardcore
that stuff.
games, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think we've sort of talked about this before, but it's like respect your audience and find
Yeah.
out where your audience is, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a big thing that we just need to improve upon. We're spending the money. I think
Mhm.
it's over 52% of purchase power lies with I suppose a female in the family structure,
Yeah.
or accounting structure, however they describe it, in those advertising spiels.
Mhm.
But if that's the purchasing power, then why aren't we being targeted?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Or
Um,
why are we being targeted? Well, I mean, I guess it just comes down to the people who are higher up, doesn't it? Like, you sort of think they're not thinking in the way that we're thinking. They think that girls just means make it pink
make it
or
pink, yeah,
make it campy, like make it this way. It's this weird sort of I want to say it's like an appropriation of what women are and not
mm,
actually a knowledge of what women are, and that
mm,
only can come from people who have experienced it or know or know
yeah,
what we are. We're not just like pink puffballs. You can't just like make us sort of ditzy and that's it, you know?
yeah, exactly. It's
Um,
it's so big, isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, there's so many different elements to that because, like, yeah, it's hard because I kind of just don't want to constantly be bringing attention to it,
Mm,
but you have to bring attention to it. And I
yeah.
just think so. One of the teams for the Code Coven summer program created a game called Detours, and it was a narrative game about a road trip between a couple, an ex-couple, and they had to go on this long road trip together, and it was between a non-binary person and a queer person, and they never drew attention to that.
Mm,
And it was beautiful. It was a story about a relationship, and
yeah.
that's all it was, and it was
Yeah.
fantastic. And like I just can't wait to get to that point,
Yeah.
just as the standard.
Yeah, where it's not just like in your face. This is a woman. This is a
Yeah.
non-binary woman. Oh my goodness. Like it's just like this is a woman. This is non-binary. They're in a relationship and that's fine.
Hmm.
Like yeah, that would be
Yeah.
amazing to get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they do
Exactly.
it. They do. They make it so obvious, don't they? They're just kind of like this person is this way. This we have to convince you that they are this.
And they have to
But
stereotypically, yeah, look this
yeah.
way, and this is you'll know, It's
You don't realize, but it's right here. Look at this.
yeah.
But no, I mean, it's amazing. Like, but that all comes from the source, isn't it? And like,
Mm.
that's why with Code Coven, it's so important to give the skills, give all the tools to the people who can create these new types of experience to accommodate what the games industry is becoming.
Yeah.
That's like really, really, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
And then Code Coven has three distinct elements at the moment, which is introductory courses, the summer program, and Elevate, which is being run in conjunction with Wings.
Yes.
Do you want to go a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. That's going to be kicking off in about a week. So what it is in conjunction with Wings, who pull together some money for from the GDC Relief Fund,
Mm,
which was money pulled together by wonderful sponsors from across the industry, to help those who've been affected by the cancellation of GDC, like they lost their travel expenses, and for small indie developers, that's a huge cost.
it's
I know.
horrible, yeah.
As well as the financial burden, they also missed out on any publishing opportunities, networking opportunities. Like the value in these conferences is significant. And, it's great to have something like the Women in Games Global Conference where we get to talk and network like this. But
Mm,
um, after Wing said we'd been talking to them about what we were doing with the summer program, they said, we've got this extra funds. What if we could do the same thing and create an incubator program using these for people who were affected by the cancellation to help them get over the finish line to either a publishable game or a pitch ready prototype. And so, we're just finalizing the details now, but we've got a wonderful cohort that's lining up for this 14-week program. Again, they're getting small stipends, but wonderful support from mentors across the industry, global participation. And yeah, I'm really excited, and a really great diversity within the cohort. So I'm excited about the games they're going to bring to the market, and the kind of social impact and structures that they're going to bring as well, because they're all in line with Code Coven's values. And just a little bit about like the Intro to Game Making course we've been running for a while now, but again in June, we kicked off it was an 8-week program, and because of the kindness of sponsors, quite a few people bought scholarships for BAME BIPOC individuals, and we had 8 scholarships for BAME women. And one of the things that they all said was, because we keep our class sizes really small, we like to play into the idea of a coven. So it was about 13 students. And they said, we've never seen so many of us represented. And this is just another point I want to sort of everybody to resonate on. To think about, if the games industry is less than 20% female, which is terrible in terms of development, consider this. Last year, globally, it was 3% Black, and that's gone down to 2%. Just wrong way.
Gone down, yeah.
Yeah. So let's move all of that up, and do the work. And I was so inspired by the participants from the BAME scholarships that we were able to do, because the work, the representation they showed in terms of the characters they created and the impact that they can have and the options they have available is so important. So I think we just got to keep on moving that dial,
Absolutely, completely. And
I think we're jump in here because you guys are running out of time, and there are so many questions.
I know.
And I don't want people to miss out, because I know I'm disrupting your rhythm, and I'm so sorry.
It's absolutely okay. Yeah, no, it's fine. Are we moving to the Q&A, right?
I think we should probably go to the Q&A. I mean, I'm happy to do it, or Laurie, you can carry on and ask the questions, whichever makes it easier for you guys. Do you want me to jump in and catch up with them, or Lauren?
We can make the jump. What do we do? Do we just stay?
Let's just go through. So I mean,
all right, cool.
The first question is from Constance. Code Coven, is there an upper age limit?
No.
Yay, that's good.
Get in.
I'm about to turn 40, so I'm like, no age limit is a great thing.
Yeah. Easy question. Done.
Yeah, done. Check. How would you recommend developing a game design portfolio?
Oh gosh,
that's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, it depends on the kind of designer that you are. Oh gosh, I don't even know how to broach that one. I mean, I know there's a lot of like narrative design in terms of samples and things like that. I have everything because I'm old school up on a YouTube channel of all of the games that I've created or levels that I've built. And you know what? Actually, I think Jean Leggett is talking later today.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, revolutionizes your portfolio, your CV. Yeah, she is just awesome. Magic. Yeah. So
okay. Check that one out.
Check her out.
Yeah. I'll write your name.
So next question is from Jonathan. Have you worked much with companies or studios to support their employees that belong to marginalized groups? And he says that I'm part of our studio's learning drive at the moment, and it would be fantastic to be able to point employees towards resources that they felt particularly catered for and respected them, but that they might not be in a position to sign up to an entire course. So is there anything out there that you've seen that's good?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of great communities out there. I know that, with the work that we do at Code Coven, we work with a lot of studios to be able to do smaller workshops or courses to be able to help studios in a one-to-one kind of relationship to facilitate their needs. And we're always looking for great partnerships with that. But there's really great initiatives like BAME in Games, POC in Play,
yes.
Of course, Women in Games.
Obviously.
which have really fantastic resources. But
totally.
I'm trying to think. I know there's like girls in games and stuff as well.
There are, and there's also, I think, the great groups like Black Girl Gamers who are out there doing some amazing streams and events, and are really exciting. I mean, our community booths in the expo have a good range. So sorry, I've jumped in there, but there is some great communities out there that are really, really pushing it. So I'm looking. You've got so many comments about what that's happened to them in studios. So I mean, it's a totally.
It's quite universal, unfortunately.
It's really sad, isn't it? But generally women can come up with at least one statement they've heard.
Can we just do like a class? Like, can there just be like a session in like every studio where they just like how to talk to women 101? How to talk.
It is. What not to say.
You think it in your brain, you keep it in your brain, okay?
Some things just inside voices.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally that. Oh, Anna has said, can I come and be part of the Coven as a 3D artist? So
of course.
Come in. Join everything.
Oh, I mean, that's the thing. It's not just about coding. We're doing game design, art, audio, everything. We need to get all the numbers up everywhere. Production, project management, podcasting, Final Fantasy expertise. Lauren.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, and Mark, you've got to do the right thing, do what's you. Margaret's gone, hi, how can one encourage diversity in a group or company without falling into tokenism or performative actions? So I mean, you guys are definitely talking about tokenism in games. And I think that's something people can often see tick boxes, don't they, with things.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like if you have to go in there and sort of be the token, that's a start. But what change can you then affect, And there's really interesting discussion that I've had with a couple of other studios who it's like what processes, and this is the thing, as a systems designer, like I get delighted by the idea that we get the chance to completely change this workplace system right now. So how are we going to do it? Let's conspire here in this very private recording in the Women in Games conference about how we're going to change these systems, and one of the things that were suggested through a couple of the discussions that I had with some other studios is like, what if there was policies in place to say that we're not closing a job posting until we get a 50-50 split in terms of the applications, in terms of diversity and, getting marginalized groups to be elevated for these positions? Are we posting those job positions out into these communities where these people can be reached? What's the language being used? And then one of the things that we talk about with Code Coven is like, it's not just about that entry, that job. Oh, is our wording inclusive and make people want to apply? Does your studio actually sustain an environment that is going to want to keep your underrepresented, marginalized folk within the studio? What are you doing to support that?
Definitely.
And it's, I think there are great ways in starting to create as that person, as that token, if you will. What are the recommendations? What are our studio's policies, our code of conduct, and how are we going to enforce them? And building up a community within your studio of people who feel the same, because it can't just come from the women. It can't just come from the marginalized folks, the trans folks. It has to be from people who support this whole change.
Definitely.
Whatever you identify,
we agree with this a lot because we often get questioned about men coming to the conference or being in our groups, and it's like, but you need allies across the board. So that's why we have men involved, because if you need them they help bring you up. So anyway, one more question as well, and then I think we have to see the tankard again, because apparently that's huge in the chat.
It was a Father's Day gift for my husband. And I got it on Etsy. If you go on Etsy, you can find it. It's just the Shinra logo.
I think it's got its own Instagram page as well. Maybe that's the way forward. But yes, one question was, how do you deal with more subtle instances of sexism at work without coming across as sensitive, or something we always, hysteric? We get this a lot. The tampon story really spoke to me because on the face of it, it's a small, dumb thing, but the man was clearly being vindictive and trying to make me feel uncomfortable.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm ridiculously sensitive.
Yeah, I know.
I think it happens sometimes. Things can pile up. Sometimes you can get one comment, isn't it? And then they can. It can be that there's quite a few.
I guess the thing is that like the first thing is to just not treat sensitivity as it's a weakness. It's not a weakness. It's who you are. Like, you know, I know that men typically try to weaponize it and say, "Oh, you're being sensitive, you're being emotional." Like, F yeah, I am, because I'm a woman and I express myself. And unfortunately for men, that is something that is really bad because like men are constantly told to not show their emotions, right? So it's kind of like a double-edged blade. So they're just constantly being told, "Don't cry, you're a sissy," like that kind of thing, like really bad thing. And you just sort of think like, you know, they're weaponizing it because obviously it's a weapon to them. And so, you know, if they use it as a weapon against you, it's just a power in numbers. Like, try to just accept you're sensitive, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay, you know?
And often I find like if I'm crying, it's because I'm angry. And I'll explain that to them. I'm like, I'm not crying because I'm sad. I'm actually angry and frustrated right now.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, one of the things that we try and do, like within our sort of the courses as well, is exactly what you said. There's nothing wrong with having emotions. There's nothing wrong about being sensitive. And we have a little document. It's just like, okay, what are the phrases that we can use to, because sometimes it's an educational process as well. Here, you know, here's the way I can tell you, hey, listen, what you said or what you did actually was quite upsetting, and I was upset because it made me feel this way. I would really like it if you didn't do that in the future. And for that person, if they turn around and go, "Well, you're just being insensitive and you're an idiot," then you're just like, "Well, no, you know, actually, this is this." You know, have that discussion where they say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize," or "I will try and do better."
Yeah.
You know, like there is that discussion to be had. And it's really hard, like you said, also with the double-edged sword, because it requires a level of almost confidence to be able to say, "Hey, that made me feel uncomfortable." And I remember one of the cohorts, they were doing their demo presentations with us, again with the detour story, and they said around one of their slides that one of their core pillars around their studio was because they're gay and they have love in their hearts, and they said it kind of quietly. And I'm just like, please make sure that's like 128 points across font across this screen, and say that you're gay and have love in your hearts, and that's your bloody core pillar. Own it, you know. So if you step into that, and I think, but it's really hard to have that confidence when we have been trained out of it, you know. And even as you know, historically and systemically, as you know, the role of men and what men are. You know, the idea of you have to man up.
Yeah.
What is that? You know, who has to do that? Nobody, you know, whether you're a man or a woman. Like, just, hey, you have feelings. You are a human.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's really okay. Yeah.
You cried for like the first like portion of your life. Trust me, I know. You like.
Can I just say it's been so lovely chatting to you, ladies, and listening. And I know that I think the rest of the group as well would happily hear you talk for a long time. So good.
Yeah.
But we might have to say goodbye. So thank you so much, Tara, and thank you so much, Lauren, for your time and talking to us and talking to the community. I know you can see that everyone's saying thanks. So we will see you soon. But thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of the conference as well.
Oh, thank you guys.
Take care.